thank you for joining me. Welcome to my show, We Are Unique, autism show featuring different types of conditions, disabilities, and spreading the awareness of autism throughout the world, not just in the UK. So do join me every month on We Are Unique. Today I'm joined by my special guest, Andrew DeBosch and Callie Elliott. Thank you for joining me on today's show. So Callie, when did you realise that there was something different about you?
When I was 8 years old, at school. I used to get picked on a lot.
So what sort of, when you got picked on, was that quite?
It was like every day.
Every single day?
Yeah.
And that was bullying?
Yeah.
So what were the children doing?
Name calling, and I used to have kids spit at me as well. I can't talk.
Yeah.
On the way home from school.
Yeah. So did that make you feel anxious and
I didn't want to go to school.
Didn't want to go to school?
No.
But you had to go to school?
Yeah.
So you're in that classroom environment where you, at that early age on, you didn't know what was wrong with you.
No.
You didn't know that you had a learning disability. You didn't know that you would possibly be on the autistic spectrum. So was that quite challenging for you?
Yeah, it was. Really hard at school.
I think you felt a bit different at that age,
Yeah.
though, didn't you? You felt like you were a little bit different to other children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So could you explain a little bit more about that, Andrew, why you think Callie was having them problems at school as a child? You know, why weren't the children picking on any other children?
Well, I just think because she obviously is a little bit different to others, and children will always pick on other children they think are different to the rest of the group.
Mm. So were you like at school? Were you like classed as the odd girl out,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
the eccentric one?
Just
or-
the odd one out.
Because bearing
Just
in
the odd one
mind
out.
this was a mainstream school with regular kids or whatever, you know, and then later on, when you was at 9 years old, then got placed into a special needs school.
Yeah.
So this is one of the challenges a lot of children face when they are at school, is when they get bullied and picked on, especially when they're in a classroom of a large size and they get, you know, picked on and bullied. And especially for Callie, because you're in a classroom where, you know, you're in a quite a big classroom with lots and lots of children, so that must have been really, I suppose, I don't know, terrifying for you?
Yeah, it was hard at school.
Did you find it a bit overwhelming?
Yeah, it was.
You couldn't cope, yeah.
Yeah. So would you say that when you are a child at school, if you have got a learning disability or if you are on the spectrum, do you think a big classroom works, or a small classroom?
A
or
small classroom.
Definitely small.
Small.
Yeah, a large classroom you can't get around. If you've got special needs, a large classroom can't work because you can't get round to those people that need that extra bit of help, you know.
So do you think then, Callie, if you were at school at that time, if we go back quite a few years ago, and when you were in the classroom at that time, if it was a small classroom with, let's say, 6 or 7 children, do you think you would have able coped?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, definitely.
And you don't think there would have been any bullying or
No.
any harassment? Or
I think if it had been recognised perhaps when Kelly was a lot younger, you know, maybe like 3 or 4, you know, age before you get to the school age, then perhaps she could have been placed in the appropriate school from the start, so then she wouldn't have had all the problems that she had, and she could have started maybe actually learning much better as well, because obviously when you're getting stressed out by bullies and things in school, you can't learn, you know.
yeah,
So
very
it's
right.
obviously hindering your learning.
In so many ways for me, Callie, when I remember when I was a child at school, I was in the same situation as you. Big classroom, lots of kids, there's the odd one out, let's pick on them, let's bully him. And you know, it's not very nice when somebody's at school like Callie many years ago and being bullied. So I remember for me when I was at school, it was a very traumatic experience, and I think that by having a small classroom, then the children can integrate better, they can be educated better, and you know, achieve better. So I think for you then, Callie, when you were at school then, correct me if I'm wrong, would you say when you left school, did you get the grades what you needed, or did you think you I don't want to put words in your mouth, but did you tend to struggle with that classroom environment?
Yeah, I did struggle. I needed more grades from school.
So you think that if you had more help and support, you would have got better grades? So I think that's a really important aspect of school education, that, you know, the child who's on the spectrum needs that right environment and needs that right support. So just moving on from that, we mentioned about what was school like and how you coped. So you didn't cope very well at school at all. So did you just want the school day to finish and just rush home and just get home and just? So what did you do when you got home? Did you just
go and play with my friends?
Yeah. So when you were a child, then did you have many friends as a child?
Where I used to live, I used to have my next door neighbour who used to live like 2 doors away from me. So I used to go and play after school. They were my 2 best friends when I was growing up.
Yeah. So what sort of things did you do with it?
Just watch videos and just play with the toys and have loads of sweets.
Yeah. So was that like a safe haven for you? Was that like a safe environment?
Yeah.
So you didn't want to wake up the next day and like thinking, I've got to go to school. So how did that make you feel?
I was upset. Just used to cry all the time.
Yeah. So did it make you feel anxious as well?
Yeah.
So Callie, you have, not only do you have autism, well, you're going through an assessment at the moment because you think you're on the autistic spectrum. You also have dyslexia and a learning disability. Can you tell us a little bit how that affects you?
It affects me everyday life. It's hard. I can't even go food shopping without help. Can't read important letters. I have to get someone to read it for me. Filling forms in, can't do that. Even getting the bus, I can't even do that. It's difficult.
So when you say you find it difficult getting the bus, is it just going onto the bus?
It's the timetables and the times I get mixed up with, and having the right change as well.
Right, so you think if you went on the bus by yourself, do you think you'd get on the wrong bus?
No, I wouldn't get on the wrong bus because I'd ask the driver first before I got on there.
But you'd get confused with the change?
Yeah, the timetables. Yeah.
So you would you know how to say if the bus driver said it was £3 to go on the bus?
I could do the £3.
But you couldn't work out the change?
No, I wouldn't be able to do it. Yeah.
So would you say that is your learning disability, or both of your learning disability and your dyslexia?
Both.
Combination, I think. Isn't it?
Sorry, what was that?
I think it's a combination, really, isn't it?
Combination.
Because you have tried to work in, say, a retail environment, but you just can't cope with a till at all. You can't, she can't work out the change. She's just unsure. She's not confident enough in herself because she mixes things up. Obviously, dyslexia and learning disability together, it just makes it incredibly difficult. So, unfortunately, it's definitely, hasn't worked out in a retail environment that you've tried a couple of times.
So did you find when you worked in the retail environment, what sort of things distracted you or made you upset? Was it the actual environment, or was it the people you were working with?
It was just the people that I was working with.
So they didn't understand your conditions?
No.
Were they aware that you had any conditions?
Didn't know.
Did you know at the time yourself that you were?
Yeah, I knew myself, but they didn't know. But like something happened, I think I mixed it up with the till or something, and they were asking me what was wrong, and I had to tell them what was wrong with me, and they said, oh, we figured it out. But yeah, it was hard.
And this is one of the most important things when a girl or a woman is on the autistic spectrum. The condition can be so hidden because you can't actually see that condition or diagnosis of autism. So women in general tend to struggle on the spectrum because obviously you were saying just, Callie, when you were at work, people didn't know that there was something wrong with you because you haven't got a label on your jumper or something on your coat saying that, I've got a disability. So if you're in the street and you see somebody who's in a wheelchair or with a blind stick, you know that they've got a disability because you can physically see that disability. So for somebody like yourself, Callie, because your conditions are so hidden, do you find that really hard?
Yeah, it's hard.
Okay, so Andrew, you're Callie's partner and you're on the spectrum as well, and you have autism. Do you see similar traits in Callie and what you have?
Yeah, I do. I have noticed over the time. I've been with Callie almost a year now, and I think that's initially what kind of made me think maybe there is something else apart from just her dyslexia that was a little bit different about her. Because I've been working with other people that have autism for many years now, so I have a good idea, understanding of males and females on the spectrum. But yeah, there are certain similar things, like sometimes you'll say maybe repetitive words, you'll pick up a word and start using it quite a lot. You can be quite literal sometimes. Kelly can be quite literal with things like a lot of people can be on the autism spectrum.
Yeah, so could you give us an example of that when Kelly's literal?
Just trying to think of an example now.
So could it just be something basic, or?
Yeah, it could be anything really. If I just say something, it could be, I can't think. Yeah, but just, anything that I say, she could take it very literally, and, it could mean
something simple.
Yeah,
she just does it literally.
Yeah.
So because you see it in yourself,
yeah.
So therefore you see it in Kelly.
Yeah, exactly. I have noticed little things, little similarities over the few months, especially when I was first with her, which then sort of caused me to then think maybe I should talk to my friend who is an expert in the field, and then to see where we go from there. Really, yeah.
So do you find that because you're on the spectrum and when did you first recognise that you knew that Kelly could be on the spectrum?
I would say probably after maybe a month or so of being with her, because like I say, there's those little things that I've noticed that I have done or still do myself on the spectrum, and other people do. I started to notice just little things as we went along over the first month, and I just thought, maybe could possibly be on the spectrum. So I just and she does struggle with anything to do with like time and going to places, and a lot of people on the spectrum do struggle with like knowing if you're going like today coming here, you were quite stressed out about getting here on time, how we're going to get here, and just lots of little things that necessarily a neurotypical person wouldn't necessarily get so stressed about.
That's great.
Yeah.
So we will be talking more about autism and the challenges people face, especially women and girls on the spectrum, right after this break.